Can you name some controversial women's issues?
Controversial women's issues.
Abortion.
Oh, that's a good one. Are we allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean,
Of course we are.
Oh, well, I don't know. Like,
Name all of them.
Can you just name a few controversial women's issues?
Abortion.
oh, issues.
The wage gap. The
Honestly,
sexual assault. Me too.
the Madonna horror complex.
Can you name any men's issues?
Oh, men's issues.
They need to treat women better.
Erectile dysfunction.
Oh yeah.
Okay. But I mean, like, can you name any, like, men's struggles?
Oh, struggles.
Mental health.
Yeah, mental health. That's definitely.
Actually, men commit rates. They actually commit suicide the
yeah,
most.
more, yeah.
Women attempt more, but men are more successful.
And can you name any men's issues?
Yeah, like toxic masculinity.
Just honestly, the patriarchy affects everyone. So like,
Yeah.
Why do you think men's mental health is in crisis?
The stigma behind it, and it's negatively
Yeah, they're
looked
afraid to
upon.
like talk about it, and especially like family just like kind of shames that sometimes.
Why are men typically the ones blamed for inflating a woman's ego?
Because most guys love to tell women how beautiful they are.
Weren't men groomed to be that way?
Yes. And to respect women ever since we're little, for sure.
I don't know, but we don't do that. They inflate their own ego.
Right, but I mean, what about simps? Simps are blamed for inflating a woman's ego, correct?
Yeah. And that's just degrading the value of the man, is what it does.
Weren't men groomed to be that way?
I hate to say it, yes, they were groomed to be simps. We're supposed to come in and just go with what goes on, just conform with the household, go out, work, bring it all in, and
We are supposed to treat a lady with respect, but no, we're not groomed to be lower ourselves for something else. Because if I lower myself to come to your level, I can't help you get to my level.
Are women equally guilty for demoralizing men and their ego?
Absolutely. Women choose. Women are choosers.
Are women equally guilty for demoralizing men and their ego?
Yes, they are, because, you know, women just could, like I said, they could easily go on some kind of social media and just post a picture of themselves and expect a man to go ahead and give her everything she needs because she's wearing makeup, basically. And you know what? That's not how it should be. It should be an even playing field for the both of us.
Aren't women raised to be spoiled as princesses?
Women are raised. Women are coddled. They absolutely are. Yeah.
So if so, why isn't that given any attention?
Well, because it's a woman world. It's everything, you know, rules around women. It's whatever the woman says, that's what the man's going to do.
I mean, I got a kid too, so I'm guilty of this. So I don't know. It's just, I think it's something innate in us biologically. We just want to build, protect, and our princess, our little girls, are somebody we can protect. I mean, obviously, since the moment they're born.
Do you find it hypocritical when parents advise their sons to avoid gold diggers while also advising their daughters to find a man who will take care of them?
It's hypocritical, but it's the way of the world. Doggy dog world, baby.
Are men no longer providing because women don't want to submit, or are women no longer submitting because men don't want to provide?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm so glad that you asked that. I think it is because women don't want to submit because of, you know, sometimes the guy's not worth it. A woman will submit if the guy is, if she feels safe, if she feels secure, if he treats her right and respectful. So yeah, we will. It's almost, it's automatic. You don't even have to say it. A woman will submit.
A man is put on this world to take care of the woman. So a man is that, like, you know what I'm saying? That's what a woman's supposed to look for. A man that's able to take care of them. And a man is, I don't think that's a question for a man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So what were women put on this planet for?
To produce, to nurture. Hello.
So then why are there so many women encouraged and raised to be independent rather than nurturing?
a lot of women were raised without fathers. So how could you know how to be a woman to a man if you didn't have a dad?
Well, right, but a lot of men were raised without fathers, so how could a man know how to be a leader and a provider to a woman if he didn't have a man teaching him that masculine role?
I guess that's just something we all got to figure out together.
Why are men expected to have a healthy perception of themselves, aka confidence, while people continue to blame men for women's inflated ego?
It falls under the social norm, I believe. Like I said, it's just my personal opinion. We're meant to hold that certain status. We're meant to be strong, be a guy.
We have to have confidence as men. We're the king of the jungle, man. We're the most dangerous species on this earth. If we wasn't, it wouldn't look like this, So as a man, we have to have absolute confidence in ourselves.
I think it really starts at the gym with other guys. We compete with each other, so we have to always appear strong. But yeah, you're right. We always seem to always put a little weakness when it comes down to the woman. We'll be strong for other dudes, but girls, we always try to, I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, why are men expected to have a healthy perception of themselves, but we don't hold women to a standard of having a healthy perception of them? In other words, we expect men to have confidence, but we don't expect women to be humble.
I think, okay, so this is a good question. I think it's because it comes down to the ego. Women do not have as much ego, so they're not required for all of that, to be humble, to be all these different things. We only really require them. We as men require them to just look good and just come along for the most part.
Why do women often attack a man's masculinity when they don't get what they want?
Oh, that's a good question. Why do I attack masculinity?
Because women run the world.
Masculinity, as in,
like you don't lift enough. Like you're not manly enough. You're not a man.
I didn't know they did that. Personally, I like a feminine man.
But I think if a woman goes for that, it's just because throughout history, that's like the biggest defining factor of like what a man is like they're a manly man.
The easiest hit.
Isn't that hitting below the belt?
Hitting below the belt? What do you mean
To
by
attack,
that? Sorry.
attack someone's masculinity.
Yeah.
Is it any wonder why men's mental health is in crisis?
Absolutely, yes, because women believe that just because they throw on some makeup and look pretty, that they can get any man, and this is really taking advantage of the man. And because you might not be a good-looking guy, that you might not have all this money, you might not have all this stuff, then that's putting you in a status where you basically get ignored by a lot of women, which is a terrible thing for a lot of men today.
It is often said life isn't fair. Who is more likely to be expected to accept injustice, men or women?
Women.
If it's not men, why do we have the expression, take it like a man?
You're good. Because men are supposed to have this strong front, so.
Does a man have the right to define what a woman is?
Absolutely not.
So then what gives women the right to define what a man is?
We don't.
But didn't you just say a man's supposed to be this and a man's supposed to be that?
Supposed to, yeah.
Is that not defining what a man is?
Well, somewhat, but not just clear like that.
If it's not men, why do we have the expression, take it like a man?
Well, I never heard take it like a woman.
So then wouldn't the answer be men?
It would be men.
We talk about things. A lot of times men they don't like to tell us their problems. They don't, they shut down easily. Most women, they'll talk about things and issues, but a lot of times men are silent, so they kind of withhold.
But do you think that men often withhold their feelings because when they express their feelings, it's often shamed and made fun of?
No. I think from growing up, they always say, well, men, you're not supposed to cry. Take it like a man. So they have to build this persona.
Is it any wonder why men's mental health is in crisis?
Yes, because soon as a man opens up to a woman and tells them like their deepest, darkest secrets, women tend to use that against men. And I don't know why. I'm a woman and I don't know why.
What is the difference between sexism and racism?
Sexism and racism. There is no difference. The one is discrimination of color and one is discrimination of sex.
What's the difference between telling a black man you're not black enough and telling a man you're not man enough?
Oh, that's a good one. Telling a black man he's not black enough can be. Oh, that's a good one.
It's the same thing. I've been told that my whole life. I've been in the hood, I've been in the suburbs. In the suburbs, they said you're white. In the hood, they say you're black. Or other way around, actually, I'm sorry. You're not white enough, you're not black enough.
And black enough, as you can see, I make racism look stupid. I'm two different colors. So to me, it's just to me, that's a funny question, literally. Like, it makes me laugh because how can you ask someone who's lighter than a white guy about someone who's black, you know? It's just an interesting concept. But like I said, I think that just relates, it goes back to the racism being a system and how people are used to or falling victim to that system.
In my book, that's equal, man.
So why is it okay for women to be sexist but not racist?
It's definitely not okay for them to be sexist.
Why is non-blatant racism often exaggerated while blatant sexism is often ignored and made fun of?
Because, like I said, it goes back to the thing where women are always coddled. You know, if a man came out there, was, you know, start crying and all this other shit, of course we're going to get ridiculed. Like, you can't do that as a man. You have a masculinity figure to show, and a female can absolutely do that. But that's not how it should be. Everything should be, you know, on a same playing field. But
falls under that social norm category. I mean, you know, there's movements that support, you know, things like that, but we have very little support on our end. So we just, back to that one word, take it like a man.
I know this, when a man's going through a struggle, people aren't going to listen to him. When a woman is going through a struggle, the whole world knows.
Speaking of not being man enough, is the modern man not man enough to handle the modern woman, or is the modern woman too much to handle?
I feel like the modern woman is too much to handle because this day and age, women, they're under the impression that they really don't need a man, so therefore they become that much more independent to where that they're like, okay, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And a lot of things that men were capable of, like women didn't have the rights to work for a long time. And then once we were able to work, okay, well, it's the sense of, okay, if he can do it, I can do it.
Does a man have the right to define what a woman is?
No.
So then what gives women the right to define what a man is?
They do not.
But they do, don't they?
I mean, they can give their opinion, but they don't have the right to, in my opinion.
But when I was raised, men are supposed to be strong. We were taught that they weren't supposed to really be emotional. They were supposed to support us. So it's kind of like programming.
Isn't that defining what a man is?
I guess so.
Why do you think that men's mental health is in crisis?
Because of toxic masculinity.
Yeah, they're taught to be strong and not care about things, and so, you know.
Yeah, it's all toxic masculinity. They're taught to not think about stuff, and that if like men aren't introspective.
They're also not always willing to talk about it though, even if they want to, and that's
for some women it can be like connecting, you know, like you like
intimacy.
Realize that they have like a soft side, and like we're into that sometimes, you know.
Has a man crying ever gotten a woman wet?
Not me. It's not gotten me wet. Like I've been concerned.
But it makes me, you know, have a lot of empathy.
What is the difference between the masculinity that women find attractive versus toxic masculinity?
I think masculinity where you find attractive is where you're not thinking about that actively as a man. When you can like
so good.
Yeah, you know what?
You're just masculine naturally. Yes, you're not performing. You're not. Masculinity doesn't mean misogyny.
Why are some people willing to accept that life isn't fair while other people want to change the world?
I feel like people that feel like life isn't fair are people who can't acknowledge their own wrongs. I feel like it's those people that's inexperienced with life and just need someone to blame. I read a really interesting book called The Four Agreements. It was about Tolmec knowledge, and it pretty much talked about how people's negative energy reflects on other people ultimately because of themselves. So I feel like life isn't fair. Life is what you make it, and just make it the best. You know, I unfortunately I grew up all in, you know, I was homeless since I was 3 years old. So for me to be having an interview with a guy like you means a lot to me, and for me to never use my adolescence as an excuse. It just answers the question. Sometimes we gotta step outside of ourselves, really look at ourselves and what we're in, and play chess.
Why do people insist that things will never change when history has proven that things have already changed?
Ditto with that one, because history, like I said, repeats itself. And even though certain things back in the day has changed, the common denominator is still there.
Why do so many people believe we're living in a male-dominated patriarchy if the standards and selectivity of women is what you believe drives civilization to become better?
Wow. I think it's getting backwards. I think people are forgetting how much men have contributed to the whole society and the world as a whole. And yes, now women have the rights to basically play those parts like a man, but most of them don't choose to be that, and they like a man actually doing these kind of things.
It's a man's world, man. Women are trying to come up, but they don't want to do the jobs that we do. They don't want to go to war. Some of them do, very select few. They don't want to go to war. They don't want to be down in these sewers cleaning up. They don't want to be building these buildings and stuff like that. I mean, that's something they would rather do. But if that's the truth, if it's not a man's world, then they need to get down in the sewers and go do it.
I was just saying, all this was built to have a woman have a really good time. I mean, it was used to be just a building, and a woman said, hey, I want to gamble with it too. I want to eat here too. I want to dance here too. And they just put everything in there. So yeah, women definitely inspire us to build.